Thanks everybody for joining. We've got another question about a badass woman for Badass Women's Week. So Emily and Karen, thanks for joining. Shahab and Eric, thanks for joining. The question is, you have probably heard of Hedy Lamarr. She's a famous Hollywood bombshell, and if nothing else, there's a bunch of jokes about her in Blazing Saddles. But what you might not know is she invented something that became a technology we all use today. Does anybody know what that is?
She invented a shoehorn, I believe. That, not a lot of us still use, but yeah, no, she definitely invented that. I read that somewhere.
It was not the shoehorn. It was something a little more impactful on our day-to-day life.
Can opener.
It was not the can opener either. It's a little more technologically advanced than the can opener.
She made, not exactly, but it was, ding, ding, ding. She made the first version, like the rough version of a rough draft, of a Ring doorbell, if I remember right. Something like that.
What she invented helped Ring doorbell come together, but I'm going to say it's something totally different.
Is this something you've used recently, Chris?
It's something I'm using right now. Even as you're watching this video, I'm probably using it.
Am I using it?
Power's out.
Yeah, are we all using it?
Yeah, everybody's using it. Presumably.
That's a microphone.
Unless you're weirdly set up with an Ethernet cable.
Is it Wi-Fi, internet? I don't know.
Oh, did you invent the...
Well, as we know, Al Gore invented the internet. So that...
Oh, that's right.
Back off of Al Gore, all right?
Did she invent the electrical plug?
It was how the equipment communicates. It was so
Wi-Fi is what we now have because of what she invented. I want to see if anybody actually knows what she invented, what process she invented.
I can't remember the name of it, but it was to block. There were torpedoes during World War II. And the Germans would block their tracking, but she figured out a way to make it so like it was random on different channels, so they couldn't block it anymore. Yep. I don't know what that's called, so I don't know if I get the point.
Like double coding or something like that, or
called frequency hopping. Yep, and so it would scramble the radar or whatever it was that was guiding torpedoes. She invented this technology. She actually co-patented it with a male inventor, but by his description, she just basically sent him instructions for how to make it. And he was like, all right. And then he just put it together. He said he basically had no ideas involved with it. He has no idea like where she came up with the idea. From what I researched, nobody really knows. Like,
no, I do.
Did you find some? I couldn't find anything.
Yes. So this person who is doing a documentary about her life, the documentary is called Bombshell. She ended up finding somebody who had recordings because originally they thought she was a spy and they thought that she brought the technology over because she's actually German, I think.
She's Austrian. She was actually married to a Austrian weapons manufacturer.
Yes.
I think she was Jewish.
She was Jewish. And they thought that she was a spy and that's where she got this information. But then they found these recordings, these interviews with her where she explained how she came up with it and her whole process. And it was completely legit. It was her. Like she even had it's not a factory, like a workbench, like a science workbench in her house.
It's a wild story. There's apparently some speculation that some of like the famous stuff that her very successful like weapons contracting husband made was probably influenced by her because she invented this technology. It'd be weird if she just invented one super important thing. But yeah, I think it's a notable thing because in the 1940s, the main thing that Hedy Lamarr was known for was for having the profile that was most requested from plastic surgeons. But it's probably worth noting that behind a pretty face is a pretty incredible brain that invented.
She had a nice nose.
Apparently, you can look her up. She had a pretty nice everything.
She was the model for Snow White.
Yeah.
So think about Snow White.
She's really the it girl of the late 30s, early 40s.
Wow.
So essentially, it would be like if in 20 years we found out that, like, I don't know who's huge right now, Jennifer Lawrence or Scarlett Johansson, like quietly invented like next level AI. That's essentially what Hedy Lamarr did.
Scarlett Johansson kind of did, right? Her?
No,
Oh, yeah.
not yet.
There was a movie, Shahab. It was. Well, that's the show for today. Thank you so much for joining, and thanks to everybody from the Improv Playhouse for joining. You guys have been super helpful this whole time. Love putting out videos with all of you. So if you are interested in learning more about the Improv Playhouse, you can go to improvplayhouse.com. There are shows on the weekends, Saturdays, 7:30 and 9 o'clock. You can see everybody else in these videos. If you go back in time a couple of years, you can also see me in some of those shows. But presently, it would be really tough to do so. I believe there's possibly some more shows coming, so go out, patronize. You'll see more shows if you prove that there is an audience to do the shows for. And if you want to find us, you can find our information right here. Check us out online, hit us up, let us know. If you have any badass women that you would really like us to talk about, feel free to comment below. We love to hear your suggestions, or you can just share facts if you want to. And of course, if there's another topic that you want to see us do, please let us know in the comments, and we are more than happy to tackle that next week. So thanks, and we'll see you next week.